So what crappy introduction are you going to record us on this time and catch us in a trap?
Now, personally,
I just did?
I think the best
Yay!
approach would be to burn all of this to the ground and start over.
No. So, hi, welcome to BeerThralls Presents Beer Protocol. I'm James. I am drinking, for Pete's sake, backwards.
It'll probably turn out fine.
Imperial Chocolate Peanut Butter Porter.
Oh.
This is Jacob. I am drinking out of my cup, but what's in my cup is from Old Busthead. Once again, their Vixen Red Ale. It's good. I'm enjoying it. It's mine.
And I am drinking Bar Hill's Tomcat Gin. It is way too junipery for me, but I'm going to drink it anyway.
Well, gentlemen, cheers.
Cheers.
Clink.
Clink. So wait, you said that was gin?
Yes, it is oaked gin.
I was going to say it's amber looking, which surprised me.
It's a very amber looking gin.
It is oaked. The flavor profile is supposed to be caramel, raw honey, juniper, oak, and be a little woody and piney. I like all the flavor profiles of it. It's just the juniper just smacks you way too hard in the face and overpowers the other flavors. So it literally just tastes like I'm chewing on pine and juniper.
Oh, that's terrible. I mean, did you add a little bit of water?
Yeah, even with a splash of water, it's just still.
God damn. Yeah, that is not good then. All right.
Yeah.
Juniper. The worst.
There's a big event going on this weekend. Atomic Mass Games did their online kind of fest, where they revealed a lot of stuff. The first thing they revealed is that there's a civil war going on.
In their fiction in universe.
Sorry, the fictional universe. There's a civil war going on. So you can play games. Basically, you sign up. If you did the back in the War Machine days where they did the huge events, or when Games Workshop did the event where you pick sides.
Are you taking a very long time to say they're doing a narrative story event?
Mm-hmm.
That influences the moving forward of the game?
No, I'm just saying they're just doing an event. They have not released what the results are going to be from this, or if there is going to be results. They just basically are like, you should sign up and post your games, and I haven't. So
that would require us to play games. So if you are playing Crisis Protocol online using the Tabletop Simulator mod or one of the other online outlets, go ahead and check out at Atomic Mass Games' site. They have a new Civil War event that hopefully will turn into cool stuff.
Hopefully.
Or at the very least, you could say, hey, I dunked on Cap.
Yes, you should totally do that. Especially if you're Taskmaster. So yeah, they did that. They did some Star Wars stuff too, because they're now doing Legion. I didn't really pay attention to that because I'm not really doing Legion anymore. But they released a whole ton of kind of. Is it really leaked if they are the ones that actually?
No, that's an announcement.
Okay, so they announced event stuff that came out. First one being Black Cat.
So they
Is
did kind of like.
To the whip?
Yeah, that's Black Cat. If you're unfamiliar with Black Cat, she is a SpiderMan. She is basically the Catwoman equivalent in the Marvel Universe. Instead of Batman, she hangs out with Spider-Man. And she has, I don't know her history super well. They've experimented at various points with giving her luck manipulation powers.
Yeah.
She used to be just a normal cat burglar with a cat theme. And then they gave her superpowers, and then she kicked Spider-Man through a wall. So it's really up to who knows what version will be making it to the tabletop.
Yeah, it's Black Cat. She's kind of a foe, but she's not. Also, it's one of those weird characters that's kind of I'm your villain this week, and then the next week they're in a strange love triangle.
So just like Catwoman.
Yeah, pretty much.
Overall, Black Cat tends to be somewhat more positively portrayed. She's antagonistic less often than Catwoman is. She still runs around and does crime, but she also doesn't. She usually doesn't team up with other supervillains. She's not really she can be hired to do crimes, but she won't actually antagonize Spider-Man or really anyone else for that matter.
Yeah. The other thing is that her
That's
model.
my memory.
The only thing I don't like about her model is she's got this weird backward flip thing going on, and it looks like that is going to snap off every single time I transport her.
It honestly looks like they tried to capture someone doing a pole vault, like that exact moment when they are like arched backwards over like the bar when they're doing a pole vault, and then it's like, let's make a sculpt of that, and then they made a black cat.
Yeah,
I mean, the way she has her leg hooked, though, it almost looks like she's trying to pole dance too. So I'm not sure.
Somebody is definitely going to mod this into Black Cat Pole Dancer.
Yes,
it's honestly one of the strangest sculpts. Like they very much wanted to be like a dynamic acrobatic pose, but
they could have chose better ones to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely going to be an interesting model. But once again, it's painting black. That's pretty much gonna be it.
Also, it's fun because is it the only Crisis Protocol model where the model's face is pointed straight up and is looking nowhere on the table?
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter.
Just being blindsided constantly because she's just staring at the moon.
It doesn't matter what angle you look at this model from on the table. You're not really going to be able to figure out where it's looking or what its like intent is.
Now, yeah, that's actually going to bother me, and I probably won't play her because even when I played Josh on Tabletop Simulator, I had to rotate my model so they were looking at things. With her not being able to look at anything, I'm just going to go fucking nuts. I can't play her.
I'm telling you, you're just get a pole. You're going to mount her straight up so she's looking straight forward.
And just put like some dollar bills on her tummy or something.
Doesn't have to get that far, guys. You can just get a flight stand and just like attach that to her back.
That's true.
Or just like take the entire arc and just like rotate her forward so she looks like she's like falling or like leaping forward.
Yeah, you could do that too. I mean, there's a bunch of modifications you could possibly do to make her less folly looking. We were actually talking about this earlier as we were testing out and fixing some stuff. One of the things that we were talking about is that all the new models, even though they're very display oriented, they're very dynamic looking. Unlike War Machine, they're not leaning over the bases. So
let's go forward to case in point. So they also revealed, in addition to some artwork hinting at a new future affiliation, they revealed a sculpt for Blade.
Yep.
This is a diorama-worthy sculpt of Blade leaping down, katanas in hand, as like grasping hands are coming at him from the base. It looks awesome.
What is he leaping on?
He's not really leaping on anything. He's falling down, and they've used a smoke trail to base his feet on, so that he is actually a solid model.
Yeah, I think I'm going to replace that bottom of that base with maybe, like, I don't know, a wall that he's jumping off of.
Why? He's not jumping. He's falling. Like the action's very clearly falling, not leaping.
Yeah, but I mean,
like his legs are braced for impact. Like neither one is extended.
That model.
Can you just get generic vampire model and have it look like he's coming down on their chest?
Oh, you could. There's a
Guys,
bunch of
don't take away how cool this model is.
Anyway, that we have Blade. We have Blade.
Almost inevitable, but cool.
It is
actually not inevitable. He's not that super well known in comics.
I wasn't expecting him to show up at all.
Are you kidding? Blade's like amazing. So,
so Blade is a character whose movies are much more well known than the comics, as like a reverse of a lot of other characters.
Wait, there were comics?
Yeah. A lot of people didn't even realize the Blade movies were based on a Marvel Comics character.
How do they not? Like, he's
because I saw it when I was like 12. Why would I know that?
Oh god,
because these movies came out in the 90s.
Oh my god, I think I watched it in college.
The internet didn't exist when these movies came out.
Oh my god! So how are we supposed to complain about stuff like the time if we didn't have the internet?
We did it amongst our own group and didn't spread it toxicity across the internet.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
So the conversation we kind of spawned is with many of the dynamic sculpts for Crisis Protocol looking more and more dynamic, is there a risk of impacting the actual gameplay? And because these models are used for a game, like they're not dioramas. They're going to be picked up, they're going to be transported, they're going to be pushed around the table. You're going to have to put measuring sticks around them. And this comes from prior history with a company of the designers, some of the designers of Atomic Mass games called Privateer Press, and their games War Machine and Hordes. Now, I don't want to correlate that, oh, of course the sculpts are going to be similar design trends. They're two different companies. We actually have no idea who's doing the sculpting.
Yeah.
We would know some of the game designers are shared and some of the sensibilities are shared. And a lot of criticism on Privateer Press was overhang, and their models were incredibly bulky. Something they never quite got complete control over is they wanted these big showpiece looking robots and monsters who were way too big for their actual base and led to actual gameplay problems where you had to, especially in a game that had facing, where it was important which way it was looking, you had to like spin them around just so they could fit up next to stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I turn this completely around so it's reverse facing, so I don't have tusks like in a model's face.
Right. Now, I don't think that's necessarily a problem yet with Crisis Protocol. Like, I think we were doing like a quick straw poll, and because the Crisis Protocol has a lot of their dynamicism be vertical, with Blade falling down, with Black Cat doing a leap. Daredevil is another one I bring up of someone I actually have handy. He's a very tall model, but he's got that wide presence up top. I think that's helped alleviate some of these concerns because, generally speaking, everyone's base is big enough and they don't have anything interfering at the base level. You can still pick them up, move them, put sticks next to them. But Doctor Strange was the one that also came up that we're not quite sure because he's got his big ring and his cape, which again is a little vertical, but is a lot more horizontal as well.
He's also on He's also on a medium base, so he doesn't really kind of.
Oh, he's less overhang than I thought.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of overhang.
So this could be a case. I think maybe the more traditional Privateer Press style would be Black Dwarf. Who isn't terrible because his base is so big.
Yeah.
But he has like an entire limb over the base. And he's leaning forward slightly based on where you base him. So I don't think Atomic Mass Games, especially since we saw several models with this update for the event this weekend, it doesn't look like they're necessarily hitting that risk, and I think that's because the variable base size.
I mean, even Magneto is pretty much. I mean, depending on where you center him. Now, the only thing I have an issue with the Blade model is does look like the hands are offsetting the weight of the model because it does look that model is really far back on the base, which does give that terrifying, like you place it on top of a car and he's gonna just tip right off.
But maybe because I do remember talking about Blade specifically on this one for like where is the weight being balanced on this thing so it stands upright. I'm guessing that smoke cloud, that wisp he's standing on, is probably not hollow, and I think the base of that thing is actually going to have a decent amount of weight and try to like hold him to it.
I'm trying to figure out what that third hand is connected to.
It's probably just a separate hand.
Like
there's definitely a big gap underneath it.
Yeah, there's a big gap underneath it. I'm wondering if this is not like the funnel model.
Maybe it's not. But we have a few other models like Ghost Spider, if you get her in front of the camera, like she's on a really thin connection point.
But she is also very much like her
not nearly as big.
Her center of gravity is kind of cutting down the middle, so it doesn't look. She doesn't tip back very often. I mean, there's a couple others like they do a really good they do have a really good design aspect with this game where a lot of the models just don't tip over. It is not like Games Workshop.
Gamora is another good example of where her connection point's also thin, but she's thrust forward, so the model stays. Yeah.
It's not like that was the Game Workshop Undead Chariot, or like the cart, whatever it was called, where it was like the ghosts were all in the back, and it was like just everything was just counterlevered off of it. So like if you built it just wrong, or you put it too far forward, like no matter how you placed it, it just went thud and just tipped on its base. It was a horrible model. But it seems like they're doing a good job with that.
Yeah.
So
It also wouldn't surprise me if it wouldn't surprise me also like my final note on Blade, other than is it wouldn't surprise me if he's actually more forward leaning than he looked, because we just have this one camera angle.
Yes. Well, we have multiple. There's actually multiple images out there that show him like. But at the same time,
this is the common one.
I gotta see it. I really have to actually see it and kind of play with the weight and see if I'm gonna have to put magnets on the bottom or something. Speaking of which, let's talk about illegally placed Spider-Man.
So, find the picture. So we have here a picture of illegally placed Spider-Man.
Yep.
Which is also our preview image of the new Amazing Spider-Man release, whose cards have been posted and are available. This is a new Peter Parker, a 5-threat model. He honestly looks like he's going to be doing a lot more stuff in combat-wise.
Yep.
Because it's definitely going to feel like the Web Warriors got their heavy hitter on the table.
Oh no, our noob's got a question.
Hit us.
Why is it illegally placed? You're not allowed to stand on top of buildings?
Okay.
You are not allowed to. Your base has to be lying flat and completely contained, like that lip.
Okay.
On a model that was weighted and balanced differently, he likely would be tipping over.
Now, the thing is, if there is like on the bottom floor a pair of steps, he is still within the shadow of that building, so he would not be illegally placed. But from the picture we have, he is overlapping the building and therefore illegally placed. You have to be completely on the piece of terrain.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That was my question.
The general rule is if your model isn't able to stand on its own without if you have to like put a die underneath it like we would do in the War Machine days, so your model would lay flat and wouldn't be risky toppling over because it's a pewter.
Thank you, Scorn.
Yeah.
That is an illegal placement. They just got rid of that entirely. Just said if it don't fit, it doesn't fit. That pack.
You can't. You must have quit.
No, if it doesn't fit, you can't sit.
So I like
it's like a cat.
I like this model because it does look like a pumpkin bomb is going off underneath them.
I hate it because I look at all that overhang.
I mean, he's not really it's not overhanging.
From a different angle, he probably isn't overhanging very much.
No.
Sorry, that's what I was saying earlier. Is because War Machine and Hordes had fixed base sizes, small, medium, and large, where they were always going to be the same size. Crisis Protocol doesn't necessarily have that. Everyone's base size, there's no predetermined set of base sizes. There's very common ones, like almost all of the size 2 characters have the same base size. But then you also have, for characters like Hulk and MODOK, they just said, give them the big boy.
Yeah.
And there's no designated base size for those characters. Everything's just based on that character, and their base size is an independent factor.
Yeah,
now,
it's small, medium, or large.
Right, but they also have been free to just kind of expand base size as needed to fit the model. So the new Spider-Man might be on just the same large base size MODOK and Hulk is on, in which case you have a lot of space to have diorama shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. And it could be just the camera angle too.
Now now he does look like he is going to completely and totally change Spider Friends.
Web Warriors, their actual name?
Spider Friends.
I mean, he has a new leadership ability for them, so that seems to be the intent.
And his leadership ability is Friendly Neighborhood Spider Friends? No,
I got your back, boo. Friendly Neighborhood Spider Team.
Spider Team, that was it. Spider Team. Which is hysterical.
As a quick reminder for what it do, just to give you guys a preview for our overall Spider episode, once per turn during an allied character activation, they can pay 1 power, choose an enemy within 2. That enemy becomes slow.
Yeah.
Slow on command.
Nonsense.
Slow means whenever they would advance to move, they use the shortest stick, no matter what their card says.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if they already have slow, you can teleport them within 1 of their current position and remove the slow.
Yep.
So basically, you web them up, and if they're already webbed, you can yank them off their current position. That's actually really cool. It's going to give a lot of scenario effect. It does make Spider Web Warriors Curse you, James. It does make Web Warriors look to be a much more melee-like faction than they may have been before.
It does give them more against Syndicate, like the I can just move everyone an inch. Like have one person go, "You're cool, you're slowed." Next person go, "Cool, you're now moving off the point."
Yeah. I think the fact, even if nothing else, just putting slow on the entire enemy team is insane. Because that could, depending on the scenario, that can take people right out of the game.
Jake. So you know what the one thing that they did show, but they didn't say anything really about?
Did they explain how Daredevil can do all of the Web Warrior stuff involving web and slow?
No. So
my headcanon at this point is that Peter Parker gave Matt Murdock a web shooter for when they were doing team activities.
That's what that stupid little stick is. Okay. No, we have a Mega Red.
Yeah, let's talk about Omega Red.
I am so like this model. Like I saw this, like they popped it up for a second, and I was just like, "Oh my god, we're getting a Mega Red!" Like it's a better Doc Ock.
Back up, Matt. What do you know about Omega Red?
I know nothing. I was about to ask a question.
Oh my god, he's a mutant that's basically Russian.
I like how you say Russian like it's his superpower.
Dude,
no, I know.
It was the 80s. It was the 80s. Russian was a superpower.
So
the only place I know Omega Red from is the Marvel vs. Capcom games.
That's pretty much all I know, which means I know nothing.
So basically,
that's
he's
also
kind of
the
like,
only place.
If I remember correctly, he's kind of like the Russian version of the Wolverine Project, Project X.
Weapon X.
Weapon X. He's kind of like their version of that, and then he's got these tendril whips out of his wrists.
Are they adamantium?
You know, I don't remember or not.
If they're not, he loses to Wolverine.
I don't remember actually. But he's got this weird top knot thing. That's the other thing that is very weird about Omega Red.
Anyway, Abel's in the game, so therefore the 90s is wide open for exploitation by the designers of Crisis Protocol, so Omega Red can't have been that far behind. Otherwise, I don't think anyone's done anything with this character.
No, I cannot wait to see what his
15 plus years.
I can't wait to
like. He's gonna have Soviet Russia come back.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Like, oh, it's a Mega Red. He's the he's not really Russian anymore. He's USSR, so maybe he's
still
not
be Russian.
Like
that's a heritage. That's not a superpower.
Is it?
It is if you're wrestling bears. It is.
Like in the newest book of the Dresden Files series, Sonya, the Knight of the Cross, who is also of Russian heritage, literally addresses a crowd of people as like, okay, here's what's going on. Also, I'm Russian. Deal with it. Moving on.
So, my favorite thing that came out so far of the models that were shown, not the art and stuff, the models that were shown, we now have a more full Spider-Foes with Carnage, Lizard, Mysterio, and friggin' Hunter boy, which
Craven the Hunter.
Craven the Hunter.
Spider-Foes has doubled in size, which is great because that at least confirms that the rest of the original the rest of the Sinister Six are on their way, or at least more of them. We also have more symbiote action, which is fun. Carnage actually has our second iteration of the Nemesis rule. And I like how that really emphasizes how much Spider-Man is like the Spider-Man is not in tone, but in so many ways, Spider-Man is like Marvel's Batman. Where his rogues gallery is as much a part of the character and his history.
That's actually not a bad way of saying it. Yeah.
In terms of like popularity and the detailed background, like how much effort they've spent on this really colorful rogues gallery over the years. Carnage has the Nemesis rule, which is the only two models of the game that have the Nemesis rule are both in Spider-Foes.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Oh my god, if you bring like the Web Warriors, and you have Venom and you have it's like Peter Parker,
Yeah, 'cause now there's 2 for Goblin to go
and
after.
if you're bringing Carnage and like Green Goblin, like half of your game is just crap. I have to attack this guy now.
Oh no. Carnage has Nemesis against Eddie Brock,
Yep.
which is fun because I think what I saw someone mention is making me go hoo hoo hoo. Is if he has Nemesis against Eddie Brock, he's using the true name, so no matter what versions of Venom come out, there is going to be Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
So, which could this mean that there might be another Venom at some point?
Well, I mean, we have
Because there's Flash
other.
Thompson also had the symbiote.
Oh, that's true. Well, was
There's
that wait? But that
also
was an alternate universe, though.
no.
Marvel.
In Marvel current like 616 canon, Flash Thompson and Eddie Brock have both been bonded with Venom.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that 616. But we had like anti-venom, we had poison.
You had Deadpool combined with like 10 different symbiotes.
Yeah, like the whole Deadpool weird thing.
Unfortunate.
So yeah, there's a possibility if now we have Carnage and we have Venom that there's going to be a symbiote faction. So
I mean, we're a long ways off from that.
by the way, look at Lizard's model. He's literally coming out of the sewers. There is a sewer grate that is flying out behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And Lizard is like a solid, like maybe 1.5 inches. Like his legs, his tail's probably all the way down, so the mouth's connected. But Lizard's body is like a solid 1.5 inches above the base.
Oh yeah, like it's huge.
Like it's I should be able to see it. Hopefully we'll get these images posted. It's really funny seeing these tall dynamic characters. Carnage with his tendrils stabbing into the ground, using it to propel him forward. Lizard leaping out of the sewer. Mysterio with his 6-pack abs, which are not an illusion, and with his like yellow smoke hovering around him. And then Craven.
Craven's just jumping over a wall.
Craven looks like
Trying.
he stole Killmonger's equipment, or Killmonger stole it from him, whatever the order is, and now he's just running.
Yeah,
or he played way too much Castlevania.
Oh, he played way too much Castlevania. I mean, it's still an awesome model. I still just love that model. It's not like I am looking so forward to painting Lizard. Like that is just an excellent model.
Yep, they went for like the classic. I don't really know how many like defined costumes Lizard has had over the years, but I do appreciate that they're going with like the classic Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s of lab coat, blue jeans. Like the head shape looks really similar. Like that was my immediate thought of like, this is the Lizard from the 90s cartoon.
Let's also just comment on Mysterio's helmet. That paint job is just great.
I'm assuming that was probably a Schick action.
No,
it looks like you could have Kemp. Okay, you probably could have like popped off Mysterio's original head and just put a marble in there.
I don't know. I will never own that model because I can't paint that.
Just paint it white. It's fine.
Put a marble in there. Get the right size marble.
That is the miniatures that we have seen. Now we can go to the art. Now we do have art of Midnight Suns, which is Blade. We knew about Moon Knight. We already have Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
And Brother Voodoo, of all people. Oh look, there's my cat.
We had to look this one up.
Hi, kitty. I don't know who Brother Voodoo is, but I love his model.
Brother Voodoo at one point was
his art. Sorry, art.
He was the new Doctor Strange. Like he was the actual Sorcerer Supreme for a bit.
Oh.
It looked like he stole part of Spawn's outfit.
That's why I loved him.
That is
like he definitely stole the cape.
That is kind of true.
Oh god, yeah.
But no, so Sons of Midnight Suns is so Doctor Strange was like, oh, there's a lot of paranormal nonsense going on and a lot of supernatural stuff going on that I just can't deal with right now. So he kind of like gathered up all of the supernatural hunters, and went, cool, team up, and then just kind of threw them out in the wild. And if you've ever read any of the Moon Knight stuff, Moon Knight is like a shade less crazy than Deadpool. So, like, that group is just insane.
Oh, yes. I do know Moon Knight. Yeah, he's fucking nuts.
Moon Knight's insanity is basically the same as Deadpool's, just not played for laughs.
Yeah. So I cannot wait for these minis to come out. This is going to be another faction I just really want to play. Because I know
if that's true, because this faction's going to hurt you. Do you want me to describe it?
It's white, blacks, and reds.
Moon Knight is all white, as a rule.
So, which is odd.
There is no alternate color scheme for Moon Knight. He is Morrow Bone White.
Yeah, Moon Knight could never happen like the golden age of comics, because a white costume just didn't happen. Like, that's why you had like White Vision didn't come out until way later, because you couldn't do white in comics because it was just basically the color of the page. So that's why everyone's like in blacks and reds and yellows and all these other colors. Moon Knight came out completely and totally white, which is just going to be the most annoying to paint. I really want Moon Knight to have a power called Dracula owes me money.
I know. I actually know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
Does he? Because that's a Luke Cage story.
No, actually, in Moon Knight, in one of his comics.
Oh, Dracula owes him money. I was thinking of money. Dr. Doom owes Luke Cage money.
Well, that's it.
Yep.
Where are you, you bitch? You owe me money.
You owe me money. So yeah, Midnight Suns looks like it's gonna be an amazing group to play. I really want to see those models. We have a picture of Jean Grey.
Mm-hmm.
So is that maybe get Phoenix?
We don't
know
Phoenix. I mean, she's Jean Grey, and then the thing is, the comic version that they're using is the 80s. Like, it's the yellow and blue with the hair that kind of like defies gravity, goes straight up and then back.
You mean the Aquanet?
Yeah, it is definitely. I'm using my psychic powers to control my hair.
I mean, you would too.
Well, if I had that power, but I don't have a lot of hair. So, but we do. I mean, that's going to bring in, like, okay, is there going to be a new game mode like Dark Phoenix? Like,
why
we had
game mode?
Like, we had Ultimate Hulk.
Oh, you mean like a special encounter?
Yeah, special encounter.
Gotcha.
And then the one
probably
the one that Jake said, who's the old guy in the scarf?
Yeah, Dr. Monarch.
Cassandra Nova. Let's talk about how they just pulled this thing. Just like somebody was just like somebody in a design meeting was like, all right, who else should we do for like mutants and stuff? And somebody was like, how about Cassandra Nova? And everyone went, who?
Sorry, go ahead, Jake.
I was sorry. That baffles me that you would ever be at a lack of characters to bring in for the X-Men and the Brotherhood.
I know.
There are so. I mean, that we do know not Cable. We do know Gambit is coming.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't seen anything for it yet, though. We just know that they mentioned that. No, Gambit's coming, and so is not Dazzler. Oh,
Jubilee.
Jubilee. Thank you.
Yeah, Negasonic Teenage Warhead should be a model in this game. Just to see them print that across the top of a card.
They gave me Deadpool.
Just the longest name across the top. Like, it has to take up like 2 lines.
Like it continues on her wounded side.
So Cassandra Nova is the evil twin of Professor X. Who, and I shit you not, the background is She tried to absorb him in the womb and failed, and she's been out for him, out to get him ever since. What Marvel was thinking at the time that they were just like, I got an idea. It was like, this is the result. This is why you don't do drugs, kids.
All I know is the face of William Schick in the picture you have on our Facebook page. It's just like, yo, I would have thought of this. Bite me. Next to Dallas Kemp, who kind of looks like her with a beard.
Oh, I need to get Dallas. I need to contact Dallas and tell him he needs the cosplay now.
So my question, because he's bald, question is,
he's even got the same facial.
He's even got the same, like he's got the same, like even his
serious
nose
grin and everything.
Yeah, he kind of does.
So is Professor X hard to kill?
I mean,
guess it depends on how you're going to do it.
Depends.
If you had it out for him and you wanted him dead, would he be that difficult?
I mean, he did surround himself with a bunch of mutants and was like, no, I'm teaching them, but don't ever leave. Just stay around me.
Like he goes out and gives public engagements. Like, sure, he's telepathic, but you could just like be on a building half a mile away. What's his outer range?
Just be like, all right. So who wants?
I thought his range was the whole world, actually.
When he's got Cerebro.
True.
I don't know. It's really hilarious to me to have a character be like, she's been out to get Professor X for their entire life. It's like she should have succeeded or given up by now.
Yeah,
or maybe she's immune to it because she tried to eat him, and so now he's got some of his DNA in her.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Yeah.
Have you tried knitting? I mean, there's other hobbies than trying to kill your twin.
I mean, and knitting needles make great weapons. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. Thanks for.
All I'm saying is the evil twin trope is really stupid.
I mean, that's why it's a trope.
Hence William Schick's face.
Okay, I think that's pretty much all we've got today from the announcements from the online event this weekend.
God,
really exciting. A lot of new stuff coming out.
We're going to talk about the whole Carnage nonsense next time.
Well,
so
wait,
yeah,
if we're getting Dr. X's twin sister, does that mean we get Dr. X?
I have to assume he'll be eventually.
Yeah, whatever. He doesn't have a doctorate.
What if Professor X was a two-threat character?
Do what?
What if he was a two-threat character? Hear me out.
No, don't even do this. Don't. I know you're going with this.
Do it.
What does he do in a fight?
He just pushes people around.
Professor X does less in an active fight than Lockjaw.
He's gonna do the same thing that Shuri does. He's gonna push people around and give them power.
Shuri has guns.
She has.
It's gonna do the same thing Doctor Strange does.
No damage, just pushes them around.
I don't think so. Depending on which version of his powers, I don't think Professor X has telekinesis. He just has mind reading.
Oh no, but he has in the comics control people's mind.
Mm-hmm. And technically, the only reason Dark Phoenix isn't always around is because he uses part of his power on the regular to keep Jean Grey cool.
And also, Enchantress can do that and punch people.
That is true. We'll have to see.
Kick him though.
I cannot.
Two-threat model. I want to see it.
I am actually
on a huge piece.
I'm very, very excited about the new releases. I've been playing some Syndicate, and I'm really looking forward to switching over to doing some Spider Foes.
Your true home, your true spiritual home.
I don't like Spider-Man.
Yeah, that.
But I love all the Spider-Man villains. Like, I think the villains are very well fleshed out, and I've said it before. Like, Spider-Man is just like, oh, you're just a sarcastic kid. Cool. All the villains have tragic.
Sir,
oh no,
he's a sarcastic teenager.
Sorry.
And adult. He carried that trait through. His actual card finally has a rule about him making fun of people.
Yeah.
He can now mechanically use witty banter to distract people.
Yeah. It is awesome.
Now we just need
very happy to see that.
Peter J. Parker with sweats and like mismatched shoes. I'm totally modifying some characters.
One of my favorite things about that movie is that Peter J. Parker of Into the Spider-Verse, Peter J. Parker is an absolute wreck of a social human. He's barely holding on, but he's still an incredibly competent Spider-Man.
Oh, he's best Spider-Man.
Like, that's my favorite thing about that movie is that they poke fun at his personal life, but they never really make fun of his ability to help people. And he stays a competent, like, honestly, like, I don't know what the tierings what it would be like in their universe, but he's like a top tier. He can do everything Spider-Man can without breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think he's just such a good Spider-Man, and his compensation is I can't take care of myself, so I can only take care of others.
He's depressed Spider-Man.
Yeah. So James, go ahead and mod Depressed Spider-Man into the game.
Yes. Oh yes, please do it. I want Depressed Spider-Man.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to us ramble about the excitement that we are experiencing about the new releases and possible art and all your fun stuff.
Yeah.
I'm out of beer.
Hey, did you think we were going to fill in while you took a drink? That sounded a lot like you were giving a speech.
Yeah, I was waiting for your monologue for the the good guys to come in and get you.
Game off.